Okay, let's just start. Let's just
All
do
right.
this.
On that note, let's
Do
start.
we have music?
Yeah.
No, we don't have music.
No. Just pretend there's music.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun,
Hello,
dun,
everybody.
dun,
Welcome
dun,
to
dun.
episode 74 of
Dun, dun,
Talking
dun,
Fail.
dun,
I
dun.
once again, because I did so well,
Dun, dun,
am your
dun,
host,
dun, dun.
Ethan. Today we are joined by
Dun,
our
dun, dun,
regular
dun,
cast
dun,
and
dun.
crew, Tyler.
Hello.
Dun, dun, dun,
Will?
dun. Hey, what's up? Dun,
Actually,
dun,
keep going.
dun,
Yeah,
dun,
good with the music. Archer.
dun, dun,
Hello.
dun,
And a special on-location guest, a personal friend of mine, Mateus.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here.
Easily with the most elegant mustache of the show today. So
dun,
that's
dun,
his
dun,
credential.
dun, dun. And we're in.
Okay, great. And we're in. How was your guys's? We always say week, but we do this on a Tuesday, and nobody ever has good weekends. So what's a good question? Because we've been asking the same one for 74 episodes, and nobody has anything nice to
My
say.
Monday was pretty good. A cop got killed like 10 minutes away from where I lived.
What? Whoa, dude.
A
Dude.
what?
A cop.
A what got killed?
Yeah,
What?
I'm just throwing these two facts out there. My weekend was pretty good, and also a cop got killed. That's all I'm saying.
It's just all I had to bring to
Right
the
by
table,
my
really.
house.
It was kind of sad.
No.
A dead
yeah.
cop? You should never bring...
Maybe I should
Ever.
put a period in there. It was good, and a cop died. It was a young cop, too. It's really sad.
Why? I don't.
Well, we usually end with rest in peace, so I thought we would start, and then we can build up to a happy ending.
Okay, but I want to hear the cop's name in the R.I.P., not just the cop who died. You have like a whole 45 minutes to find his name.
Okay, I'll try.
R.I.P.D. Tyler.
All right. Now that Will's got his homework, so Matthias, I'm going to get it wrong.
Yeah,
Matthias,
first one.
Ethan says that.
Yeah.
So I guess part of the reason why
Oh, good.
Ethan, do you want to explain your
Yes.
reasoning for bringing him on? Okay, he's gone. Yep, that's normal. That's a normal occurrence. We'll be talking to him, and then he'll just disappear. So,
Nice.
we kind of want to have you on and talk about it, and I don't know, just kind of get your perspective
put
on
the dog
things,
to
and
sleep.
hopefully not come across as
Yes.
taking one side or the other too much.
Well, shoot, I don't know where to begin. It's a big topic.
So, I guess-
I'll start with like kind of like my journey of like finding it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm pretty into like truth seeking, I like to say. Like I like watching like all those crazy guys on YouTube talk about conspiracies and kind of like what could have happened in certain events that has happened. So I don't know, like everybody else, I kind of started with JFK, and then I got really into like 9/11, and I pretty much like dismissed the moon landing hoax idea for like the longest time. I was like, there's no way, like that's got to be real. And then, I kind of like went about my life, and then I don't know, a couple years ago, I ran across my first flat earth video, and just like everybody else,
Sure.
I was like, this is ridiculous. This is dumb. There's no way this has any like relevance, even like what's the point of lying about a globe and all this stuff. And I wrestled with all these questions. But I watched, as corny as it sounds, and this is kind of what everybody says to watch,
Okay.
but I watched Eric Dubé's like 200 proofs the earth isn't a ball. And that, to me, even though it doesn't have necessarily like tons of evidence, it does have like some like math and some science and some tests and some things to back it up. That, to me, like 200 proofs, I was like, dang, I think that's got to lead somewhere. So I did a little bit more digging, and then I'm kind of now just to this point where I've talked about it with people, and it's kind of become like unfortunately, it's kind of become like a divisive, or like a topic that more so like pushes people away from me, so I don't like talking about it as much anymore.
Sure. It's kind of like politics or religion.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, it kind of does come back to religion for me. In my eyes, when the I grew up in the church, just as a background. I've been like kind of a Christian, I guess, since I was 7, and I've kind of wrestled with different aspects of the faith and kind of big questions. And when you go into the Bible, it doesn't take very long until you see in Genesis 1:6 that God made the firmament. And the firmament isn't just the separation of the waters from the waters. It is a firmament. If you look it up, it's something that's hammered out. It's something that is solid. Mm-hmm. It's something that it's like when you do metal work and you get it really hot and you pound it out and flatten it and kind of do stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's just right there to begin with. So I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then it talks about how the earth has, corners, and how the earth stands on pillars, and that it's God's footstool. And it talks about how he made, the earth before he put the sun and the moon in, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I was just like, that's really weird, because the way the Big Bang works is
right.
that
Stars
we
first.
kind of came from this big explosion, and
sure.
came from stardust from stars, right? And so therefore our sun would be first, and then the planet. You know what I'm saying? So there's just certain stuff that because of my faith, I've kind of like. And background in science too. Like I've taken some AP environmental science classes. I was really into science for
mm-hmm.
a long time, and I still am. I still love science, but I think there's certain things about science, right? With water too. It's like water is always level, no matter what, and it doesn't really stick around the outside of a ball very well. There's certain things, like for me, that has kind of gotten me set on the idea is that is the world record photography stuff that's coming out, and all the new digital zooms that people can buy, like the P9000s or whatever, or P900s or
like
whatever.
lenses.
Yeah, like these new cameras that have these digital zooms of like 100 times or something. And you can, they say the ship goes over the curve, right? But you can, with these new cameras, after they're invisible, zoom in on them and they reappear, miles and miles and miles away, when they should be, 50, 60, 100 more feet under the supposed curve. And it's something like 8 inches mm-hmm. per square mile. So it's very easy to test. And I've seen people like laser test from like over oceans too, not just lakes, where they're in the Pacific Northwest. There's an island that's like 8 miles away. They have a laser and a guy on the other side with a camera, and they somehow find each other, line up the laser right with the camera over ocean, and it's right there. And lasers don't lie, you know what I'm saying? So there's certain things that have gotten me pretty set on the idea. And it sounds stupid, it sounds dumb, but to me, I've seen the good in it too. I've seen how I consider the good in it. I've seen how people who kind of have stepped away from their faith have kind of been like, whoa, the Bible actually is a very geocentric book, and this flat earth stuff is pretty interesting. I'm going to get back into the Bible. And, and then they live happier, healthier, better lives. So, even if it is a little bit culty and a little bit silly, I kind of like the idea. And I like the idea that you can't trust, what people say. You take every man to be a liar and God to be the truth. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Sure. I think there's a very famous quote by Ronald Reagan where it's trust but verify. Mm-hmm. And that's something, I always try and, if I can verify something, that's always
Was that really Ronald Reagan?
Better.
Yeah, it was about
go ahead and verify that, Will.
and there's
Sorry.
no such thing as gravity.
Yeah, but if you
Yeah,
this
it's
is
all-
Will. This
yeah.
is where
So
Will
this is where-
stands.
this is where people kind of get really just mad at me because, look, gravity's a theory. Gravity is a way of explaining something that happens, but there's other ways to explain gravity because it comes down to air, right? So if something is denser than air, it will fall, and if something is lighter than air, it will float.
Mhm.
We have chemicals on the periodic table that defy gravity, like helium. So there's I think big G, gravity is kind of just a theory, and you can show how buoyancy and density works very, very easily with like solutions and chemistry and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I like, it's funny because you go to gravity, right? And you search it up on Wikipedia. Their proof for gravity is a video of them on the moon dropping a feather and a hammer and it dropping on the same time on the moon. It's just like, really? That's like what you got to like back up gravity? It's like a fake moon mission, but that's a whole other different thing.
That's like next year when we have
Yeah,
you back
right,
on.
right.
We can go over the moon.
Everything
moon
goes
landings.
back to the moon. People are focused on the
It's true.
Earth and its shape.
Right.
It all goes back to the moon.
It does
So-
go back to the moon. The moon holds a lot of secrets.
So I guess if the Earth is flat and there is a conspiracy to where, I guess, do you know have you ever figured out like what the origin of that conspiracy is? Like, is it, because it seems like it'd be pretty ingrained.
Yeah. So, right. No, people have actually, I've heard different things. I've heard that people have known that the Earth is a ball since like 200 BC with the Greeks and stuff like that. Look, it started really getting pushed by the Vatican, actually, by the Catholic Church. It was something that, the guy one of the famous guys who first came out like as thinking that, the sun is in the center of the solar system, Galileo, like, got tons of flack for that because everybody thought the Earth was flat. I don't know really, like, I have watched a bunch of history videos about like how the flat Earth or how the globe kind of got started. But it goes pretty far back. And so and it's a fair thing to say that, hey, there's calculations for it and this and that. And I know the math can check out in some regard, but I don't know, but it also kind of doesn't, I don't know. I've taken, for me, yeah, but so basically, no, I don't know much about,
Sure.
I can't really think
Sure,
of much to say
'cause
right now.
It seems like if that is the case, where the Earth is flat and there is a large conspiracy, that there would be a huge group that would be required to maintain that. And if that's the case, we might have more. There might be bigger problems than just whether or not the Earth is flat or spherical. So.
Of course, yeah, and that's part of the issue with discussing this topic. It's like Jesus says not to focus too much on dissensions, and it's kind of a dissension because whether the Earth is flat or a ball, one of the two are kind of lying about it, So, we're not supposed to focus too much on stuff like this because it is really about people's, relationship to God in my eyes, at the core of it. But I think people will kind of get woke when they realize that God is right above them and that, God put you here at a specific time for a specific reason. And, he's just right there and the stars are fixed except the wandering stars, aka planets. And, it's a lot more meaningful to me than a
Sure.
random occurrence in a ball floating through space that's just infinite, and because then you're going, where is God? Because God could be
Sure.
literally trillions of light years away. It's like, it doesn't feel as special to me in a way. I guess some people argue that it makes them feel more special if they're on a spinning ball through space, but that's their own idea about it.
Okay.
So, one of the theories is that the Earth is flat, but we've observed all the other planets are round. So, the
Right.
theory is that all the other planets are round, but Earth is flat.
So I want you to right now Google zoomed in HD footage of Venus,
Oh yeah.
because when you zoom in on planets, they don't look like balls of rock. They look like energy orbs and like light going through water. It's pretty incredible.
Okay. So maybe the idea is that they're not necessarily physical objects, but they're, like you said, like orb.
Yeah. Well, that's not the one.
Okay, you don't have to comment
Well,
on it.
No, yeah.
Here, go to videos, and then I don't know, like, I don't know.
Anyway.
I guess a lot of this stuff is hidden too, and that's a lot of big part of the problem with flat Earth is that there's a lot of misinformation now, because there really, if there really is a power system in play to like hide information, which I think there is, then they would
Sure.
want to hide flat Earth too. And
Make sure
and
you're
if
facing the microphone a little
and if it wasn't true, there wouldn't be so many like debunk flat Earth videos. Like people would just be like, "Those guys are idiots. We don't even have to spend time debunking them." But the first thing that pops up now when you Google flat Earth is debunking flat Earth, which is really funny to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to get back to your question, Will, the planets, I don't know what they are. To me, the idea of a wandering star sounds pretty good. They don't have the typical elliptical of the stars that just go around Polaris. They do their own thing. The reason why they, I think, named all the planets after demigods and I think kind of like evil fallen gods in a way, is because that could be what they are in heaven. They could be, Mars is like, you look into astrology, it'll tell you right there, like Mars is, something, and then like the god of war, right? And then Venus is, or no, Saturn is Satan and all this stuff. So that could be there, and the Bible does talk about a battle that will happen in the heaven, in the heavens. So that could be what's
Sure.
going on. We just can't really
I don't-
see it that way, I don't know. But yeah, what Ethan has right here,
Archer found this.
yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? It's pretty trippy. Doesn't really look
Yeah,
like a ball of rock.
interesting.
It looks like
To me,
an energy.
I don't
orb,
know.
right?
It's just me being skeptical. It looks like just what normally happens when you zoom
Wait,
too close
Will-
on something. It like loses focus.
Will, are you being skeptical of skepticism?
Right.
Camera distortion or
Right.
atmospheric distortion.
Yeah, and of
Yeah,
course
I
there's all
guess
those
I am,
factors.
sorry.
Pollution. No, you're
It's
you don't have to
2018. You're
apologize.
supposed to believe the claim first.
No.
And then
There's
find
there's like a third
evidence.
podcast going there, Ethan.
Have you been keeping up with Kavanaugh?
Yeah,
we need to get.
So
we need to
I
get
don't know if I've
Australian-
explained my theory
Sorry.
on flat Earth, and please don't get
I've got a lot
offended
going on.
if this is wrong. But my theory is it's all a big joke. Everyone that says they're a flat earther is in on it, because every time
I
someone
won't.
freaks out and is like, "What? It's not flat. How could you think that?" It like gets them really riled up and they think it's hilarious. Like he totally believes that I think. So I think it's all a big joke. So I get what you're doing.
I get what you're doing.
Yeah, you know, there there is an element of kind of like one-upping someone, right? That like unfortunately kind of pops up with the flat Earth movement because it sparks a lot of debate in people, and it brings out emotion, and it brings out facts, it brings out all the stuff, you know. So it's very fun to bring up to people who are like have never heard of it. They go, "What? There's no way," you know.
Okay.
But I don't think it's a joke. I think from what I have a pretty good gift of reading people, and like from the people who genuinely believe it, they genuinely believe it. Like they're pretty set on it, kind of like me. Fortunately, in terms of how society sees me,
So
Arthur,
I guess. But,
I was
Galileo.
gonna say I don't want to hog all the questions. I mean, I don't know. Arthur, did you have anything as we go? I don't want to.
No. I mean, I'm content
Okay,
with listening.
I'm just checking.
I have
checking in.
two.
Arthur tends to be quiet, and then
I have two hard-hitting questions. Okay, so first, I've seen the diagram of how flat earthers think the sun and the moon rotate above the entire Earth as a disk. How do you explain sunrise and sunset?
yeah. Okay. Good question. So there is water in the air, a lot of it, but it's invisible. And when water is in a glass and you
It'll
put a
distort
pencil
it,
in it,
offset
it'll
it.
magnify the pencil
Yeah.
and angle it down, right? So it won't be just straight like this. It'll be more bent like this, and it'll be magnified. Yeah, it'll distort.
Refracted.
Well,
Or the.
they like to throw
Oh, I
that
shouldn't bring.
refraction word out
I
a
shouldn't
lot.
bring light into the conversation.
No, but it is light. It's what happens when light hits water. It magnifies it and distorts it, or makes it 10% larger, basically. So when you do a simple test with like a flat table, for example, when you're standing on the edge of the table, something that is, and you put like a magnifying glass in front of the sun, and then you move that sun backwards, like away from you, it will look like it goes over the table. But it doesn't. It's still on the table. You know what I mean? Like if you just slide it back. So anyway, so what I'm saying is it's going away from us, and it's so, and because of the light and the water in the air, it appears as if it's going down, but it's actually just getting so far away that it goes like under like the mountains or whatever's in the skyline, and to our eyes it looks like it's setting, but it's actually just going away.
Okay.
It's kind of
Okay.
how I would explain that.
Here, Will, can I ask a question before you
Yeah.
get to your okay. And maybe it's the same question that was Will's second. But so if the Earth is flat, what is on the edge? Like, is it a drop? Is it a wall of mountains? Like, what is?
Good question. Yeah, I don't think there's like an edge like people say there. I mean, you know.
Mhm.
So, this is a good question. And the thing is, I'm not an Antarctic explorer yet. So, you know, so I can't verify this for sure. But, you know, there's ancient Buddhist maps of the Earth. And one of the maps that was recently found was basically a flat Earth map with Antarctica, you know, wrapping around it. And what's funny,
surrounding the edge.
Right, surrounding the edge, but not only surrounding the edge, it was only like a thin-ish layer, and there were more lands out like past Antarctica.
Okay.
So, and if you look up Admiral Byrd, who was like the first explorer to like go to both poles back in like the
Right.
50s, he said on live TV back then, like a couple of years before he died, that of unknown kind of weird causes, that he found other land masses
Oh.
past Antarctica. And how can that be possible if it's just a continent? You know? So it's pretty interesting. So there could be other like places. Maybe that's where the space shuttles are going when they take off. They're just taking the rich out to some island that literally nobody knows about. I don't know.
There could be other Earths. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's like
No,
a
that's
Catan
that's
board.
another theory too with the flat Earth theory, is that like this is our bubble, and then there's another ice wall bubble somewhere else.
Like
and,
it's the parallel universes idea,
Right.
but it's in physical
Okay,
landmass.
like
right,
there's
right.
adjacent.
Yeah, and that basically this is like an infinite realm, right? And that it's the first level of heaven. So and so we don't really know how far it goes.
If I go up, I go to
Right.
space. If I go left, I go to I go past Antarctica, and then I would by this theory be in like the different land.
If you get over the
That's the Best Buy Earth. It's just a giant Best Buy.
I don't get it.
I don't know how to explain Will's jokes
Yeah,
to
it's
other
okay.
people. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No one does. No, there's
It's
no way to
like
explain it.
there's a different Earth for every
Right.
possibility.
Right.
Like the
Right.
multiverse.
Where
theory.
Best Buy becomes Amazon,
It's
Yeah.
but doesn't advance
it's
their business
certainly
model.
It's certainly more interesting than our current Earth setup. So I would like that to come true.
Right.
Because that would be
So-
super interesting.
I think when you go up into so-called space, eventually you hit this kind of limit, like this kind of funk. And there's like a recent video that I watched of like a rocket going like really, really high altitude, and it's like moving even towards like the top of its climb. And then all of a sudden, literally in the audio of the video on the camera on the ship, you hear this funk. And then it stops. The rocket literally stops moving right away and then starts falling down. So I'm not saying there's a glass ceiling. I'm not saying that we live in a snow globe.
Only for half
and
the
I
population,
know that we live in a
Mateus.
snow globe. But hey, who knows? Maybe that's what the firmament is. Maybe there's a certain level that we can reach. So
Flat Earthers and feminists unite, break the glass ceiling.
I guess in kind of similar to the what is on the edge, is there something like what hasn't happened yet? Do you think would be the easiest way to like prove to everybody? Like, would it be to go to the edge and try and cross? Like, what do you? I mean, is there something like some kind of I don't know, some like if you can get a group of flat earthers together and like set off on a either up or over or down, is there something like that
right.
would be the easiest way to do it?
Yeah. There is no easy way to do it. It's kind of
Sure.
what I've realized. It takes a lot of resources, a lot of money, a lot of man hours. But there have been already tons of flat earthers who have sent up hot air balloons that are specifically designed for high altitude, and they've made it. I don't know. I don't want to get the number wrong, but over 120,000 feet up, so really, really high up, and then eventually it pops, and then they have a parachute that deploys, and then they find
They can retrieve the
data
footage
of it and the footage. And when you do it without a fisheye lens and you go that high up, you can Google it. You can Google hot air balloon, high altitude video, and a lot of them are now flat Earth videos. And when you don't have a fisheye lens, it's just totally level all the way across. And when you're going that high up, you from all the space pictures that we see and all the pictures from the ISS and all the pictures of them in space when they get the picture of the globe, like we're pretty close to the ISS when you're 120,000 feet up. The ISS is still in low Earth orbit, so supposedly. So, I don't know. I think hot air balloons would be my answer, but also the long distance photography. There's a record for a picture of a mountain 146 miles away from a guy on a mountain that wasn't as tall as that mountain. And if you do the calculations, the mountain that he sees in his long distance photo on this clear day should be like miles and miles, like really far under the curve, but it's not. So for me, long distance photography would probably do it for some people. Long distance video is another thing. People are getting infrared out, because in infrared you can actually see more sometimes of like even land masses than you can with just normal video with color. And so yeah, I would say get the infrared out, get the lasers out, get the hot air balloons out, and we can do some tests. It sounds fun to me.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Will, did you have another question?
We don't have to all do flat
Yeah,
Earth.
we don't have to make the whole episode flat Earth, but
Just letting you, we're not tied. I didn't tell Mateus, hey, you're
No.
going to come on
I mean,
and talk
honest-
about flat Earth.
Yeah, you kind of did.
For-
You
not
kinda-
an hour. So
Well,
I
you
wasn't.
kinda
I
warned
didn't mean
me.
to do that. I'm sorry.
I mean, honestly,
Kinda
I don't
warned me
really
about it.
have like any really. I don't, unless something sparks something, I'm kind of
No, yeah.
out of.
My only question is, with the flat Earth, is there an atmosphere? Is that like? Is there? But is that? So is the
And that's what's
atmosphere just a
contained.
dome?
Right.
So it's a
That's
dome.
what they think. Yeah.
We live. Okay.
Yeah. They think there's
So
a dome above
I
us.
I just thought of this theory off the top of my head, so it might not even be a good comparison. But if you took a basketball and set it far away, and you removed like shadows or something like that, and then you took a picture of it or a video of it without a fisheye lens, doesn't that kind of flatten the image anyways? And from far away, wouldn't that look like a flat image, even though it's a basketball and we know it's round?
Totally. Yeah, there's probably an element to that, but there is a natural, like our eyes are round, they're balls, so we do see with some level of fisheye. We do. We have an FOV kind of to us naturally, but when you get cameras that are matched to that level, lenses that are matched to our basically as close as possible to what our eyes see, there shouldn't be that distortion that you're talking about.
I'm sorry, I kind of zoned out. You mean if we see it with our own eyes, it shouldn't look like that?
Right. Hence, when you match the lens up, it would be just as though our eyes were seeing it with the correct lens. But so anyway, there's a recent video of a hot air balloon by college students who sent it up to prove that the Earth wasn't flat, because they go up really high and then you can see that it's curved, and then they come back down. But when they're 15 feet off the ground, there's the same curve from the fisheye lens as there was of the Earth really, really high up, because it's obvious when you have a GoPro, you can tell that it's fisheyed, so as they were coming back down 5 feet off the ground, there's the same curve of the horizon that there was of the horizon 100,000 feet up.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
I'm just like
Anyway.
from far away.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and that's how you prove it, is from far away. So if there's canals, that you can go into that are 5 miles long and hold up a flag that's a foot tall, and you'll be able to see the guy 5 miles away with the flag totally level with you. There's no, and you could say that's because it's a canal and it's man-made and it's designed that way, but it's the same over the oceans too, even. So
we were just talking about no shadow equators.
no shadow equators.
Have you seen those
No.
parts on the equator where when the sun's directly above?
Oh yeah, that's
is-
cool.
Yeah.
And this no shadow equator thing is kind of what I was talking about with like improper shadowing, which is kind of what happens in space. Is it's a lot different than we're used to. So I believe messes with the eye and makes it look flatter than it really is.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Well, one thing that also proves the Coriolis effect to me is that
You can push it
or
in.
that proves the Earth is flat is the Coriolis effect. It's not real. Like there's the people who are like in Africa, like right on the equator, and they'll like it was literally confirmed by a guy who went to like Ecuador and saw this lady do the same thing. So you have these like metal, like just these containers, right, with a little hole in the bottom. And when you pour the water in, it'll go one way on this side of the equator, and then you go literally like 20 feet away, or something, to the other side of the equator, and it'll circle the other way. And I've been to Australia. I lived there, and I did notice that sometimes the water went down the sink or the toilet a different way. But not all the time did it do that. And when
Sure,
you actually look at how they do the test, it's all about how they put the water in initially. So when they throw in the water with a certain way of doing it, it's going to spin to the left. And then when you throw it in with a certain way of doing it, it's going to spin to the right. And a guy who worked at a summer camp who didn't even know what flat Earth was, when I started talking to him about the Coriolis effect, he's like, oh yeah, that's fake. I saw her do it right in front of my eyes. I knew exactly how she tricked everybody. And I was like, that's confirmation right there. Like, if this guy literally just asked me what even is flat Earth and then backed me up on the Coriolis effect, like, there's something there. So, I don't know. It was fun.
Oh, I don't doubt the fakeness of that.
Yeah.
And I believe, most the like flushing of toilets and it spinning is exactly what you're saying. It's just
Right.
how the water starts.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't doubt that.
But yeah, back to your shadowing thing. I mean, I don't really know. I haven't really thought about flat Earth in terms of like how you see shadows. But I mean, look, you're not seeing a shadow of a mountain 100 miles away. You're seeing the mountain. You know what I mean? Like, and it should be under the curve. So, look, like you can think you live on a ball, but like to me, I'm like, dude.
Okay, so you're
Ow.
saying since it's so big, you should be able to see the mountain like start to disappear under the curve, or like you could only see the tip and not the base.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Now, I've only heard this statistic
Yeah.
as I haven't seen the facts, so this statistic could totally be wrong. But I've heard the statistic that if you shrunk down the Earth to the size of a pool cue, it would be smoother than the pool cue, even though it's got all the ups and downs of the mountains and the ocean. Now, that could totally be wrong, but you think maybe the grand scale
Totally.
of the
Yeah.
Earth could factor in to that?
Yes, right. The grand scale of it being, what, 64,000 miles in diameter or something, or 64, yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's big, right? But it's a small world, Like you run into people all the time, and you're like, what are you doing here? But look, I don't know. I think with the size of the Earth, you can Google right now like curvature calculation thing, like a curvature calculation like chart, and it'll bring up like, okay, you go 4 miles, what's 4 times 8? 24. There should be 24 inches of curvature, and then you keep adding to it, and the number keeps increasing. The curve keeps going more and more and more and more, right? It's just not the case. To me, flat Earth comes down to curvature, biggest thing.
Right.
So, yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah, the distance around the globe is 24.9 thousand miles.
60-something thousand kilometers. That's probably what I was thinking. Yes, right.
From one edge to the other.
Right.
It's 24,000 miles, even if you connect both edges.
So yeah, people then usually ask me like, well, then how do you circumnavigate the Earth? And my answer is, well, north is always north. North
Sure.
is the center. The magnetic center of the Earth is the North Pole, just as they say on a ball. And so wherever you're going around this disk, if you're heading west, your compass is going to adjust slightly just over time as you're going over this distance over this dinner plate. It's going to always kind of bend towards north when you're going west based off where you're going around it. So you can still circumnavigate the
Right.
Earth.
The idea would be that
Yeah,
north
you
would
can
still be always to your right. If you just keep going west, you'd just be going around like a record.
Right. Exactly. And then, man, what's another fun thing? One thing that I also wanted to bring up was the moon. The moonlight is colder, and it's supposed to be sunlight bouncing off the sun, and it's colder in the moonlight. How is that the case?
Well, isn't that because it's the light's traveling further? It's
Mm-hmm.
having to go to the moon and then bounce off the moon
Right.
to Earth, making it travel a much longer distance, losing heat.
That
Fair.
one, yeah, I kind of feel like
Fair.
because we see that with if you ever see like video shoots, there's usually a guy with a big reflector who I think is kind of doing the same job as what the moon does in terms of light.
Mhm.
It hits the light,
It
and then
cools the
depending on
light,
the
right,
material the reflector is made out of, it softens the light a little bit. Whatever is so.
It's not going to be as hot.
So
Absorb
that kind of
some
I don't
and
know. That
reflect
puts
some.
me towards
Yeah.
towards the globus side of things of like, well, the moon is doing, or the reflector is doing the same thing that the moon is doing and making them. But that's
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, it's still weird. Like, it's still weird that you're colder on a starry night. You're colder under the moonlight than you are actually in shade.
I don't buy it. Wait, what?
Yeah. So if you go under a tree in the moonlight, you're actually warmer. Not just because of the trees actually do keep you warm. But let's say you just go under like a balcony or something. That shade is actually going to be warmer than the moonlight is. So trip out on that for a second.
That I'd have to.
It's measurable. It's measurable with literally
Hold on.
with temperature calculators
Yeah.
or whatever you call them, temperature thermometers. Yeah.
You put them under the Earth's armpit.
Yes.
And then you figure out if the moon's
Okay.
like.
You
it's
can literally
colder.
just be standing with it. Like, I've seen tests of videos of people proving like it actually is colder,
So-
and they'll admit it.
okay. So in the globist world, GPS works by satellites above the Earth, and and giving location to your phone or whatever device that you're using to reach out to that satellite. Do you know how that works in the flat Earth?
Yeah. So they'll admit that satellites are not that good. They'll admit that satellites actually produce a weaker signal than the ground-based networks that we have under our oceans, etc. So,
Like satellites and GPS.
yeah, they're saying it's because of the clouds.
No.
No? Okay. Well, that's part of it. Anyway, sorry, that's off topic. So, yeah, I totally forgot what I was talking about
Mhm.
already. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, satellites are a hoax, dude. It's all hot air balloons. And if you try to look into satellites, there's so much secrecy about them. People who work on them can't talk about it, and I get it because it's obviously a very competitive market, supposedly, and stuff like that, and that's why they're not allowed to talk about it. But it's shrouded with secrecy, and I think that what are those wires called?
Sure.
That
Fiber optics.
fiber optics. Everything is fiber optics. Actually, it's not. When you're using Waze on your phone, it's not from a GPS. It says it's from a GPS, but it's actually a ground based thing.
What?
And
How does that work?
well, they can. It's
Not to
quick.
derail you.
It's a quicker signal from us to a cell phone tower that that connects to an underground network,
Sure.
than to shoot it 100 plus miles into space and then back. So they'll even say like satellites aren't as strong as the ground networks,
Right, but
and that
But if-
GPS
but if-
actually
if everything is a
secretly
plane,
off-
like a
based
flat
off
plane,
the ground.
and I don't know.
Mhm.
My phone tells me, at least from
Mhm.
from what I'm reading on my phone, it tells me where I am, in X and Y axis. I think that's I'm using the right terms. How would something that is also on the same
Right.
level as me
Yeah,
know if? I guess it would be you could tell by distance. Yeah, that's it.
I think he's speaking of triangulation. So your phone's connecting to towers, and those towers are connected to a in-ground infrastructure. So
From like a
GPS
cell
signal
towers.
is
Okay.
a hoax, and what the information you're getting is a triangulation from
right. Right.
Which my understanding of the whole GPS thing is, I don't know if this is connected to what you're saying, but for public use, there's two types of GPS signal you can use, which is high accuracy and low latency, or low latency. One being obviously like a highly accurate pinpointing of your location, and the other is a high refresh of the update of your location. It's illegal to have both of those at the same time, because that's the combination you need for missile guidance systems. So
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I think I get what
I
you're
don't
saying.
know how that connects.
It
Hold
does
on.
kind of connect.
Like as in triangulation can
Yeah.
have
Mhm.
both.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but there's a video, and it's by like a space agency or something.
Welcome to the
watched-
Space Agency video.
Yeah, it was literally one of those, and it was like,
Okay.
well, actually, satellites are weaker than ground network fiber optics, so we actually use that to transmit data more often to our cell phones and stuff like that. So it's like, wow, okay, yeah.
Was it from NASA?
Never a straight answer.
I had another question. Do you believe in global warming?
I do believe that the Earth is getting warmer, but it, and I do believe in global warming. I think
Just
the
not the globe
Earth-
aspect
the
of it.
Earth,
Just the warming.
I
Yeah.
believe in glacial
I believe that the
heating.
Earth has fluctuating cycles naturally, but I do also believe that there's aspects of it which are kind of scary. To get like full on like Alex Jones theory, like he's like, well, when you start taxing carbon, then that's our life cycle, so then they can basically manipulate all the life on Earth and stuff like that. And honestly, that's kind of true. Like when you're saying that, like, the Earth does have a natural cycle of processing out all the extra carbon. And I have been in an AP environmental science class where they take samples from Antarctica in the glaciers that show that when the carbon level is high, usually the Earth temperature is high, and then when and then vice versa, or it's colder when it's lower CO2. But I also think that there's definitely climate manipulation also going on aside from just global warming. Like, we are trashing our environment, like we are trashing the Earth, like I know that, but there's a island the size of Texas just made out of plastic bits in the Pacific. But there's something else to global warming, such as the theory of chemtrails, or the theory of HARP is admitting to doing these tests with different chemicals. NASA actually just released a couple years ago, like, they admitted to spraying the U.S. with chemicals that lead to ADHD and bipolarism that they were trying to like manipulate and bounce the sunlight off of with. Like it's really interesting. I think unfortunately, like this Earth is like it's pretty past its point of recovery in terms of the carbon like levels and in terms of like all the fossil fuels that we're dumping out into the earth or into the air. But we're dumping a lot more than just fossil fuels into the air that people don't know about. And so, yeah.
Well, maybe once the ice wall melts, we'll be able
If
to
the
go swim
ice
over
wall
to a
melts,
new Earth.
the wildlings get in.
Yeah.
This is what nobody
The
understands.
ice wall melts, we're all underwater. But yeah.
Okay, new theory.
boy.
NASA is trying to like keep the Earth cool and prevent us from
Yes.
reaching over into the other Earth to keep us
Yes.
away from the Costco Earth.
The Costco.
I'd buy it.
Uh,
If they
100%.
find out that the sales tax in the other universe is almost zero, we're going to lose all 8 billion people.
Right.
All right. So we're getting pretty close to like our time. So I guess
Geoengineering, yeah.
are there?
sorry.
and it may not be. I feel like this is like a very expansive thing of the flat Earth, because if Earth is flat, then that means that there's a lot bigger conspiracies and stuff like that. Are there other you don't have to go really deep into things, but are there other things that I guess would be considered conspiracies that you also question? Like I don't know. It doesn't have to be necessarily related to flat Earth, but what else are we being lied to
Yeah.
about?
No. Yeah. No. Well, 9/11's main narrative is bogus. I mean, the towers fell in demolishing, or like the
Controlled demolition
yeah,
fashion.
Yes, in controlled demolition fashion, it fell at that rate. And then Building 7 was the first ever building to fall from a fire, like alone. And that wasn't even near the World Trade Center. Well, it's kind of near. It's like a couple blocks away. But that just randomly, on the same day as the towers went down, that went down too, containing a bunch of important government documents about how they spend our money and taxpayer dollars.
Building 7?
Yeah, you should look
I
up.
didn't know they knocked down 7.
You don't know about Building 7? Look up Building 7, and then also look up what hit the Pentagon, because a plane didn't hit the
I've
Pentagon.
seen those videos.
The Pentagon
where-
one's the weirdest part to me, to be like.
It's the most secured
By
and the most
by
protected
everything,
building
it's
in
weird.
the world, and they only had one frame of the plane, so-called, hitting it, and it's literally just this black thing that goes, and then an explosion. And first off, in the Pentagon, there was no black box that every plane has with important data. It had no bodies. It had no blood. It had nothing that is a part of a plane being crashed into the Pentagon. So, there's something about 9/11 that they don't want us to know about.
Well,
that I'll probably
I've
speaking about. But I might as well go with like JFK.
If this
as
podcast
well.
is known for anything, it's people dying after after
How's
they come
Anna
on
doing, by
show.
the way?
Or get mentioned.
Haven't heard-
Well, I know
Uh-oh.
I know where I'm going.
Still on vacation.
She actually has not been
9/11's
returning my
juicy,
calls.
though.
I can't get in contact with her.
Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, 9/11 is juicy.
So
sorry,
I
you
think
were-
the two
you're gonna,
titles we have so
go on
far,
to, like,
9/11 is
JFK,
juicy and
it sounds
lasers
like?
don't lie.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. He was the guy who was like, "We're gonna put a man on the moon," and then he was killed a couple years later. He was also about, well, according to the conspiracy theorists, he was about and he kind of hinted at it in a lot of his speeches, right before his assassination, that he realized how much the public doesn't know, and was kind of threatening to use his power to kind of show what's actually going down in the,
Sure.
well, what do you want to call them? what is it called? The deep
state.
Yeah, the deep state or the shadow government or whatever you want to use to call them.
Sure.
The unelected and powerful,
or maybe the elected who are the elected are basically kind of puppets in my eyes a lot of the time. And they're bought and paid for, and so they'll say whatever whoever is paying them.
They better be bought and paid for. I'm paying my taxes.
What they need to say. So yeah, JFK I think is an important part of the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean that does make sense.
Place for people to start.
That does make sense if there is a conspiracy that the guy who was pushing for going to the moon would have to be taken care of somehow.
We only made it to the moon in the Nixon administration. So think about that.
It's a lot of interesting stuff. I actually just picked up this book. I was up in Portland and I picked up this book that is titled "The CIA Makes Science Fiction Boring," and it's pretty interesting.
All right, well, Archer, we're out of time. Let's thank our sponsor, the Central Intelligence Agency.
Are you sponsored by? He's sponsored by the state.
Big G.
We're sponsored by
Big G.
Big Flat.
Gravity.
No, but I only got into the first story. The first story is about MLK.
Yeah.
And I guess the goal of this book is to approach things very objectively and not super not sway to one end of the conspiracy
and to
spectrum.
make Thanksgiving dinner very awkward as you try and explain these things.
Well, me and my family, we're all Russians, so we've got our own conspiracies to talk about.
I would imagine that Russia. I would be interested.
Well, wait, hold on. There's actually
Russia,
4
though.
million
stupid.
admitted flat earthers in Russia, and that's only 1% of their population or some shit. But they even well, you can say that, but even if that is the case, that's still 4 million people in Russia alone who believe in the flat Earth, and Russia is pretty known for their
believe in communism too. So
no, not as much anymore, and they're kind of seeing that it doesn't work. And anyway, so it's a big movement. There's people all over. There's a lot of people in the closet about it because you do get kind of ex-nayed from society in some regard when you actually say that you believe that we don't live on a spinning ball floating through space. It's funny, but
that's the thing though, is even a lot of these stories get bundled into the same bucket, and the thing is, some of them are true, right? That's the thing that makes it I don't know. It makes it super interesting because you'll hear the theories and you'll be like, okay, well, there's some of them that have been proven. There's some that are kind of on the fishy scale, and there's some that are just come on. So there's, it just makes the whole topic.
I'm totally for MLK getting shot by the CIA.
It's
I
a
totally
basket
think that
of
happened.
theory that's woven together with strands of truth that kind of holds this thing into this singular.
Yeah. I would also say, just right before we finish, in terms of conspiracies, just there's a lot of false flags. There's a lot of things that, such as 9/11, that are designed to create a public uproar so that we can go back into war. And unfortunately, capitalism works, but it also works really, really well when you're in war because you're making a lot of stuff that costs a lot of money. So then you sell that, and then you get a lot of money back. And so just beware of kind of the precursors to the next big war that's coming up, with whether that's a societal one with all the stuff that they're pushing with leftist ideology and
left channel
ruining the young youth of this nation based off social divides and stuff like that, or whether it's actual shootings at schools, where they blame it on a lone gunman, and stuff like that. Like the story gets repeated, you know, and there's certain things that you should question when it comes to, you know, I mean, events of mass people dying, especially. But
So
anyway.
if somebody was wanting to get more information about, like, kind of go, okay, maybe there's something to the flat Earth thing, where would
Yeah.
you? Is there like a couple places that you would recommend to start for somebody new?
Yeah. Celebrate Truth is a good guy. Rob Skiba is a pretty good guy.
How do you spell
Rob
that?
Skiba, yeah, and Skiba. Rob Skiba, and then, man, I mean, I could pull up a bunch. There's let's see if I can find any more. You know, there's Eric Dubay. He's an atheist, so I mean, I don't trust everything that he says, to be honest. And that's a part of my flat Earth thing too. Is I have been watching debunking videos, and I have been watching things that kind of try to show that we do know what we're talking about in terms of living on a ball. But
Well, I think it's
Rob Skeeb.
I think no matter which side you're on of any topic, you should, you know, look at the other side.
Yeah,
and,
go both sides.
You know, you should definitely try and get as much information as you can.
That's why I've been
No matter-
listening to a lot of Hitler's speeches lately, and the guy had
That's
some
not
good
the
speeches.
reason.
Yeah, there's also a guy named Mark Sargent, who's been in the flat Earth community for a while.
Hitler believed in a globe, by the way. So
See, he's
Yeah,
good. He's
but,
already
uh,
learned
he
to
got
tune
it
out our
Also-
jokes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I tune out Ethan's jokes all the time.
oh my god.
That's what we do too.
I just make him feel
It's
bad
okay. I
about
think
himself.
Ethan takes care of that.
But yeah. He does that on his own.
So,
No, but
Do I need? I'll go.
No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
You've got your
yeah,
four.
yeah. There's definitely a couple. You could,
you know, I feel like I left you with a
Okay.
couple that are good. Oh, there's a guy. There's another one. Feed Your Mind. He's a pretty good one too. So yeah, there's just little things. There's little
Yeah.
snippets, and people don't claim to have like the whole truth when they're making these videos. They're just like, hey, this is a topic. This is how it relates, and you can kind of take what you will from it.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
Yeah.
Ethan, did you want to? I know you're the host, but I feel like I've done a lot of talking and guiding things. But did you want to wrap up the show?
Yeah, we're definitely have to figure out a profit sharing situation here. There's no way I'm paying Ethan all these royalties.
Yeah, well, as the introducer of Mateus, I do get 3% of all future commissions on podcast revenue. It's, do you have anything to plug?
Man,
I mean, yeah. Is there?
anything that I'm doing?
What's going on?
Yeah, oh, gosh. I'm trying to cure autism every day.
With
pretty
Ethan? Is that?
With
Sounds weird out of context, but yeah, with Ethan, he says. Yeah, basically, no. I work in preschools, and so I'm totally focused on like bettering the lives of children. I just want to like help people out.
Flatten out the playing field.
Yeah, flatten out the playing field. Make it. Yeah, jeez, flatten out. That's terrible.
You can't tune them all out. I'll get some of them in there.
Jordan Peterson would yell at you for that.
All right. I think it's probably time to turn the segment back over to Will. Have you done your research, Will?
Yes, and I would just like to reiterate a rest in peace to Burt Reynolds. He was a legend, and I miss him very much.
Can you?
It was very sad.
And then the police officer.
Sorry, who?
All right.
Wow, the world moves fast.
All right.
Well, we are traveling with a constant upward velocity.
No, that is a false thing pushed by the Flat Earth Society, which
If we went
which-
straight
that's
up, we'd get
misinformation.
pushed into the ground.
That's misinformation.
All right.
Anyway,
So, you want to wrap us
all
up,
right, guys.
Ethan?
It's been fun.
All right. Yeah, this was
Yeah, it
Very
was fun.
interesting. Interesting episode. It was more focused than I think any show we've ever
Stayed on
had.
topic.
Yeah, so thank
Yeah,
you
definitely.
again, Mateus, for indulging us. It was great having you on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And again, we've been joined with Tyler.
Hi.
It's weird to do this a second time. Tyler,
Yeah.
Will, and Arthur. Yeah, everybody's. I don't.
Goodbye.
Don't worry.
Don't get.
It's good cop, bad cop. It's all good.
Not
No,
everyone can
it's
get
all
soft
good.
out there.
I was hoping that you guys would be a little bit confrontational. It makes it fun. Good.
Hopefully
Glad.
they'll keep me on the show. So thanks for showing up, Mateus.
Probably not.
What a dick!